So when I started my Magic the Gathering journey, I specifically went for the Final Fantasy decks. If you've watched the last 3 episodes of this documentary series, you know that Final Fantasy is what got me into playing Magic the Gathering. So I wanted to start this documentary with my entry point, Final Fantasy. And now that we've gone through being able to interview people about where they started playing Final Fantasy, why they love it so much, and most importantly, why this collaboration was so big, now it's time to talk about me getting into Magic the Gathering. So the first set that I bought was the starter pack for Final Fantasy. It had Cloud and it had Sephiroth, and I was super excited. I pre-ordered it on Amazon because honestly, I'd never really walked into a local game store until I started playing Magic the Gathering. So I ordered it from Amazon, and as it was on its way, I was like, you know what? Like, I don't even know what I'm doing here. So let me get on social media. I'll go on TikTok, and I just want to be able to throw out a video, say, hey, Magic the Gathering players, I'm new to Final Fantasy, or excuse me, to Magic the Gathering because of Final Fantasy, and I know nothing about the game. What are some advice? Where should I start? And I was flooded with great advice. And looking back at it now, several months later, and seeing some of the advice people gave me, truly great words of wisdom from the Magic the Gathering community. And I'm truly grateful and thankful for that guidance, especially early on in me learning how to play Magic. So that's where I started in Magic. So let's revisit that. So I've taken the top 10 or so comments of tips and advice, and I'm breaking them down for you with a special guest, and we're going to dive in deep to be able to figure out together what's the best way to start Magic the Gathering. This is Untapped Potential. Alright, guys, so on tonight's episode, we are talking with Juan from the Con Culture podcast, and we're going specifically over our tips and tricks that we got from our videos that I posted when I first started Magic the Gathering. So I figured that this would be a great entry point after, we got through post Final Fantasy collab and talking about that. What was the next portion for me? And that was really going through comments and questions and things like that people left on my pages. And what was overwhelming for me was the amount of strangers that just reached out to help. Like it was not just comments, it was DMs, it was messages. And once they got wind of what I was doing in the larger picture for this documentary, the amount of help I
Mhm.
received was just unreal. So that's where we're going to
Yeah.
start. But first, let's talk about Juan. Juan, where can people find you? What do you do, and what is the Con Culture podcast?
Yes, the Con Culture podcast is something I created in order to pretty much encapsulate what you just discussed. Create a community where everybody's welcomed, every fandom is welcome. It started in the cosplay community. It was just me and my friend Tommy and Lindsay. We started this podcast because we wanted a space and basically a platform to talk about the nerdy things we love: movies, cosplay, comic cons. So that's the way it started. And then I wanted it to evolve into just a place for every fandom to join, whether it's video games, movies, cons, cosplay, anime, whatever you're into. You could come and nerd out in this space. And that's the goal of our podcast now. So we just interview creatives all over the country. We interview them on our podcast. And then we have, as you've seen, I'm sure, short form content across the country where we get to interview and spotlight cosplayers and vendors and just creatives in general. So that's what the Con Culture podcast is just a beacon of light in a community that has given so much to us.
I love that. I mean, that's actually how we met. You interviewed my wife as one of those cosplayers, and once she posted it, and I got to digging into your content and your page, I was like, man, this is incredible because it's just showing off the true love of fandom, cosplay, cons, conventions, things like that, and what people love.
Mhm.
And to be honest, it was part of the inspiration for me to step out and start doing what I'm doing here. So thank you for that. And so yeah, we got to see each other again at Bell County Con in Belton,
Yes, we
Texas,
did.
And when we were there, I said, "Hey, I'm doing my podcast and social medias and stuff. Can we interview?" And you were like, "Yeah, absolutely." And you and
Mhm.
Gigi stepped in and allowed me to be able to interview you guys for just a quick couple minute clip. And in that process, I just happened to tell you guys about this project. I said, "Are you guys Magic players?" And I swear to God, like your faces lit up. So I was like, "All right, I love this." See, I'm that's what we talked about too. I was so jealous of those welcome packs for Spider Man. I just talked my wife Scarlett into letting me buy a one of the booster packs, like the
Oh yeah,
with like
I have
30
to
of
buy
them in
two of
there.
them. It's like $400 worth of
It's
Spider-Man
it's
release that I'm buying.
crazy. Yeah, it's crazy. And because Final Fantasy is what got me into Magic, but I'm a huge
Mhm.
Spider-Man fan. Like I got the Spider-Man logo tattooed on me. Like I love Spider-Man. So,
That's
so that's how
awesome.
we got talking about this. So before we jump into the questions or the tips,
Mhm.
tell me a little bit. How long have you been playing Magic, and kind of talk a little bit about your journey in Magic.
It's funny. I through doing the podcast, I got really into the pop culture space, really into gaming. Excuse me. And I had the opportunity to take over a management position for a gaming lounge. We were nice friends. I was running a business at the time, and they were like, "Hey, would you be interested in managing the gaming lounge?" And it was video games, tabletop. It was a great space called Play Live, and it was a great concept. I was really excited to be a part of it, but I was like, okay, I need to educate myself. I know video games, but I needed to educate myself on this thing called Magic the Gathering that a bunch of guys like to come in and play, and we would sell decks and cards. So I didn't know anything about Wizards of the Coast. I knew nothing about Magic. I just needed to educate myself. So once I started kind of researching what it was, man, I was hooked. I got it. I got to playing with the guys there, and just like you, the community is so welcoming. No matter what shop you go into, you're probably going to run into a group of Magic players who will take you under their wing, tell you everything you need to know, give you advice on decks. Like you'll get the same response that you got, no matter what shop you walk into, because the Magic community is an amazing, awesome, and welcoming community. So yeah, the guys educated me on it, and I was like, I would love to play this with my kids. So I gateway drugged the entire family, and I have three teenage boys who all dove into Magic with me, and we just started collecting cards and playing. And I was, since I was the manager at the store, I could get first dibs on cards, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna this one. I built like some pretty strong decks, so that was fun playing against everybody else. And yeah, that was where my love for Magic the Gathering started. And now just the great collabs they've done with the Lord of the Rings and the Secret Lair. I got to see that unveiled at San Diego, I think it was. No, it might have been New York. I think it was New York Comic Con. Yeah, it might have been New York Comic Con where they did the whole release, and I got like the Doctor Strange comic, and I actually got the Doctor Strange limited edition card.
That's awesome.
And it's just, I love the collaborations they do. The game is just fun to play. There's so many different play styles, whether you're playing like Commander or Standard. Like you can really just have a blast playing this game, and it is a rabbit hole. That's how you went from like, oh, Final Fantasy, that's cool, to like, all right, let's drop 200 on a Spider-Man collection.
Uh-huh.
Like it'll get you, but in the best way possible, and you make some great friends along the way.
Yeah, that's the part I'm looking forward to. I mean, ultimately, my journey is going from a dude who's
Mm-hmm.
never played before to wanting to be a future Magic the Gathering world champion. And I know
Mm-hmm.
that that is a lofty goal. And it's
Yeah.
going to be a long journey, but I think it's because of that community that's going to really help drive me there. And if I can
Mm-hmm.
contribute to that, similar to what you're doing with the pulp culture space, if I can contribute to that community with this documentary and people get into it just because of seeing this, then I think that's a
Mm-hmm.
win. So um, yeah, so let's talk about the journey so far. So, um, for me, like you talked about going into your local game stores and just getting that response from real people like I did on social media. I'm
Yeah.
gonna find that out on Sunday tomorrow night. Like I'm going into my first local game store without knowing a single
Yo.
soul, being like, "Hey, can we play? Can I play?" And what that came from, like for me, like first of all, like I'm a very extroverted person because my job requires it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But at my core, I'm introverted. Like if I can just not talk to anybody, I'm cool with that, right? Um,
Yeah.
and so I, um, when I was shopping at one of the local game stores here in Moore,
Mhm.
Oklahoma, Forgotten Labyrinth, which is a fantastic store. If you guys are local watching this, I just went in and they gave me a tour of the store. They talked to me about Magic, like what cards to buy and stuff like that. When I told them all I said was I knew. I don't really know what I'm looking at. And they were so
Yeah.
opening, and what they did was they encouraged me to come Sunday night because what they do is they have experienced players who will be there to help mentor non-experienced players, and I'm like, cool,
Yep.
let's do it. So, but I started with going on social media, like I said. I posted a video, just said, hey, the Final Fantasy Collab got me into Magic. Walk me through. What do I need to know? We took the top 10 or 15 tips that I got from there, and that's what we're going to go over onto today's episode of the Untapped Potential documentary series. So let's dive right on in. So the first one I have, and through the
Mhm.
magic of editing, it'll overlap us, be on the screen for the people at home to watch. Where to start? Try Arena to learn the basics. Go to your local game store because most have cheap, common, and uncommon to boost your deck. Try all colors and most of all, have fun. So let me ask first: have you played Magic the Gathering Arena?
I have it on my phone. Yes. My son and I, when we were on a camping trip, we passed the time in between like dining and fishing and all that other stuff we like to do out there. We would play Magic the Gathering, the arena on our phones. I love the app because you get the virtual experience of cracking packs without the cost of
Yeah.
real life cracking packs. So you anytime new collaborations, new stuff comes out, you get to kind of crack some packs and you get to earn it the more you play. So I think they've done a real good job of letting you collect things. And I don't know if they still do it, but I know you used to be able to buy physical copies. And if you scanned your QR code or something on the back, the deck you bought would unlock for you in the game. So you would
Yep.
get additional packs in the game, which I think is brilliant.
Yeah,
A
and
great way to kind of gateway them together. But
in
I love
fact,
Magic in the
so
Arena.
it's only for the starter kits for the standard decks, but
Uh,
there in the back, if you can, for people at home can see, it does walk you
yes.
through putting in the code. Um,
It,
and so definitely don't throw away the trash in your standard or starter kit boxes because those are great ways to be able to
no.
add cards to Arena. I will
Yep.
tell you, I have only one complaint about Magic Arena because I think it's a fantastic app.
Mm. The
My only
buffering and
the
finding
oh,
opponents. It's
look,
terrible.
oh my gosh, yeah. Every time I open it up, like you got to download new.
70
It's
updates.
ridiculous. But that's actually not my biggest complaint. My biggest complaint
Mm.
is that as an entry point to Magic the Gathering, it's too fast. Like it moves so fast you don't have a chance.
Yeah.
And I understand that when you're playing against someone else, like you're not going to take up someone else's time, but through the tutorials, which were really helpful when it gave me
Mm.
time to be able to catch up to what it was teaching me, was really
Yeah.
helpful. But it went by super super quick. Where I
Yeah.
will say that I think it does a great job in, to your point of being able to open packs and add to your decks, your pre-existing decks. It really does a great job of helping you walk through building your own standard decks
Hmm.
without the cost of actually having to go buy those cards, right? So it gives you
Yep.
an idea of how to build that deck and what that should look like. And I think that that's a great tool and resource. And so, what have you like? I know you said that you guys kind of started in with playing it and stuff like that, but have you
Hmm.
delved into some of the stuff like the tutorials for like the different colors and going through like that? Like, what did you think of the app overall, just in regards as a tool and a lesson?
I think it's a great tool to, like you said, try the different colors because I had the color I picked and liked, but through Arena, you can kind of test, is that strategically how I play the game? Is it best for I'm very aggressive with my play style. I hold nothing back. I'm not a strategy guy. I am a brute when it comes to cards. So if I get a great card, I'm not like, ooh, let me save this for the right time. No, I'm like, I'm going to play it right away. So I need maybe a deck that has a little more land boosts, that cards add land, because I want to play everything in my hand as fast as possible. So I want to try to amass as much land as quickly as possible in order to play the awesome cards I have. And Arena really lets you test colors to see which ones are the best for your play style without, like we said, having to go out, buy the physical packs and learn all that. It is a little quicker, but Once you lose, you can just go into another game and another game and another game. There's kind of an infinite amount of people there, or there's
Yeah.
a set number, but you're not going to play through enough games to not learn anything. So I think it's a great place to test different colors, different tactics. Great way to learn strategy. And then when you play in person, that's when the real school starts.
Yeah, no, I agree with that because I think when you're talking about playing on arena, it gives
Mhm.
you that opportunity to learn your playing style and how you want to play,
Mhm.
without the expense of buying the cards. So even though, again, I love the fact that I posted the video and people came in with
Mhm.
tips and tricks. My dumb self didn't read. I mean, I read all of them, but I didn't listen
Yeah.
to some of them. So I didn't
Yeah.
actually download Arena until after I'd already started buying cards. Um, and we're talking about I've only been on this journey for 3 months so far, and I have,
Mhm.
I don't know, 11 commander decks, and it was because I didn't listen. So I was like, well, let me buy some that cater more to green or red or white, so I can
Mhm.
figure out what I like to play. But then
Yeah.
also, I only had one friend who played, and so I was like, we'd play a couple hands every time we'd meet, but that was really about it. So I was like, okay,
Yeah.
Magic Arena, like if you're new, it's a must. Like before you start going out, I would actually say before you even
Mhm.
buy your first commander deck or your first standard
Yeah.
deck, like starter kit, like go ahead and download Magic Arena and really kind of delve into the gameplay.
Mhm.
Maybe one day they'll have a commander version on there because it's just standard on Magic Arena, but still
Yeah.
it gives you an idea to figure out how you want to play. So I think that this
Mhm.
is a great tip.
For sure. I think it's a great way to get into it. And like you said, it's low cost. You already have the phone, download the app. I think I was the same as you. I played physical cards first because I was like, a phone app is not going to capture the experience. Boy, was I wrong.
Yeah,
I played the heck out of that thing once I started downloading it.
I agree. All right, so let's move on to our next tip. So this one was like a five-parter, so we'll kind of include it all into one real
Mhm.
quick. But
Yeah.
we have here to play cards that you want to play, not meta-based or based off other people's opinions. Keep your deck consistent and find one thing it does and make it do that one thing better.
Yep.
Download the Magic the Gathering app, obviously, the arena. Watch Game Nights, which is a YouTube channel.
Mhm.
It's actually, I believe, it's by the Command Zone YouTube page, which I've been watching. That's been really fantastic. And then buy everything in Final Fantasy set to familiarize yourself with one whole set before going to older sets. So it's a lot to unpack here. I think the biggest point that I want to take away is the play the cards that you want to play and not based off other people's opinions or things like that.
Yeah.
Um, you talked about learning your play style and what you want. The one hardest thing that was difficult for me to wrap my head around with Magic the Gathering is the cards that I have with the Final Fantasy commander decks that I bought. I can use with other decks and other sets and things like that. But my
Mhm.
OCD was like, no, I need to keep all the Final Fantasy together. I need to keep, and
Yeah.
and so you should really like whatever you enjoy. Like you talked about the Secret
Yes.
Layer. I just picked up this weekend the Sonic the Hedgehog Secret Layer pack just
Nice.
because I grew up loving Sonic the Hedgehog. So I'm starting to
Yeah.
really get to that point where it's like I'm gonna play what I want to play. So what would you say to someone who, is I guess easily influenced by other people's opinions? How would you encourage them to really just focus on what they love?
I think it was when I got my butt whooped by a Samwise Gamgee that just kept making bread. Like that was the strategy that my son deployed on me, and it worked. And I got destroyed by a baker. That alone should let you see that you can create whatever strategy you want for this game, but there's always an element of chance. Like
Yeah,
play what you like because you'll enjoy it more. And if you build the right strategy, you can beat almost any deck. They may have some very powerful cards, but if the sequence doesn't play out in their favor and they never get that land or that card they need to deploy whatever master plan they have, you could win with whatever deck you have. So why not have one that you enjoy playing that makes you feel great about going through them as you play and just assembling them? This way you have fun throughout the entire process, building your deck, playing the game, upgrading your deck. That whole process becomes fun as opposed to like, I'm trying to win. I got to maximize winning, because you'll learn in person. Magic is fun whether you win or lose. Some of the funnest games I've played, I've lost in, but they were stretches of knockdown dragouts, or they were like out of nowhere victories that a board wipe just came and left me an open target. Like, they're awesome to play regardless of win or lose, especially if you have a nice group, a gaming lounge you can play at. You're not trying to win in those settings unless it's like a tournament or competition. You're trying to just get better and learn more about your deck and the game, and everybody just has fun. And yeah, I would go with, that's the reason you should pick the cards you love, not so much strategy or the meta or what other people tell you. What are you going to have fun playing?
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, not everyone has like the aspirations I do, right? Like I want to be competitive, I want to, but right now I just want to have fun. I want to learn the game. I want to learn how to play. And I think that doing it your way, like the nice part about Magic the Gathering is that you're able to customize your decks and really build your decks to match you and your personality. So it's almost as if like you are a representation of your deck sometimes, and it is okay to play decks that you may either want to try to familiarize yourself with, or maybe you're wanting to be more versed in your different color schemes and styles of play. But at the end of the day, when you're talking about sitting down with a group of people, going to go play Commander with a pot of 4, 5, however many that you're playing with, or even if it's just one-on-one, have fun with it. Like, just enjoy it, have fun, and you're not going to have fun playing a deck that is, that you're not going to enjoy. And so I think
because when the strategy doesn't come together, you're going to be pissed.
Yeah.
It's going to fall apart. It's not going to go the way you thought. And now you're unhappy, as opposed to playing cards you like and you're just like, oh, I want to see how this goes, and it goes off the rails. It was still fun to play.
Yeah, I agree. All right, so we're going to move on to the next tip. Understanding the color pie and picking the style that you like is important, like we've already talked about. You also can't be afraid to tear down decks you don't like or that you don't find fun. And so it's almost taking that notion we were just talking about in regards to like play what you enjoy, and saying, hey, like it's okay to take a deck that maybe you like certain attributes to, and tearing it down and rebuilding it into something that you do enjoy. You had mentioned about the bread, right? And how you got beat, and it was like, what in the world? One of my first hands that I played with my friend Lindsay, who's been walking me through the game, I realized that I enjoy green because I like creating creatures and then just beefing them up and having these like these big like bigger, larger than life creatures to be able to go attack. She had a deck that she had built on her own that created like tokens, created like the little rats, and so every single time I would beef up one of my creatures and I'd get ready to go attack, she would block with this little rat peasant, and it was all the work I did meant nothing because with the way the game works, you can block with anything as long as you're willing to sacrifice it. It doesn't really matter, right? Like, and she did that specifically because she saw the pre-con deck that I had bought and was like, okay, this is going to work best for that. And so which, if Lindsay's watching this, I got something for you the next time we play. I'm telling you. But yeah, like it's you got to do what you enjoy. But you got to understand that color pie and how the color scheme works and how your decks work. So for you, was there any kind of tips or tricks that you used to kind of understand how the symmetry worked with each color scheme, or like what would you say to a newbie who like me who didn't know a whole lot about it?
Trial and error was my method, and also collection based. Again, back to the cards I found fun. Like, I love green and white are the scheme I play, and strategy be damned if it's a collection I like and they have the mix of cards I like. I make sure they can play well together, and then I make sure I have mana that's both colors and things of that nature. But outside of that, there's not much strategy to what I do. I like the cards. I know some tactics are good. I know I can multiply or beef up certain characters, and I just get a handful of those, a handful of cards that complement each other across both colors, and that's how I structure my decks. That really is. And I'm almost always green and white. I very rarely go to either blue or red or any of the others. I'm almost always exclusively green and white decks. And I think that's just because I built so many of them in Arena, which is another thing. If you like a color style, the possibilities just within that color style you want to stick with are insane. There's so many collections and old cards you can pull in, and you can't be afraid to mix it up. But the way I learned it was just through Arena, trial and error. But I've rarely deviated to any other colors. Even the Spider-Man deck is a green starter deck. Because I my kids picked apart the other 10 of these I had, but either way, I was gonna end up with green.
Yeah.
There was never a doubt in my mind. I'm a weird one that predetermines my color, and I like the colors. So
see, I thought I was going to be more drawn to red because it's more fast paced, it's more aggressive.
yes,
But as I started playing a little bit more, like I said, I enjoyed the fact of taking a little bit of time, building up your creatures, right, and things like that. I will tell you, my least favorite is black. Like being able to bring things back from your graveyard and stuff like that, so incredibly frustrating.
cheating.
It is, and that's what she was using when she kicked my ass. I was just like,
That's why I like white though, because I get beat up so much that I need things to like rebuild my life.
Yeah,
I need
that's
cards
hilarious.
that'll give me life back because I get beat up so badly because I just charge in there.
Well, let's
So green
talk
and white
about.
makes sense.
Oh, I love it. Well, let's talk about. Okay, so you bought your pre-con deck. You decided, you went with a commander deck. It's green, whatever your primary color is. And then you want to be able to upgrade that deck, right? Because that's the easiest way to, in my opinion, to kind of start out when you're learning to alter your decks is a little bit at a time. Just upgrade a precon that you bought, so you kind of keep that same symmetry versus like just starting from scratch. Now I'm saying that because of my experience, because I was like, no, I have a whole bunch of cards. I just went out and bought 11 or 12 commander decks, and I have all these cards. Let me just build from scratch. And that's incredibly hard to just build from scratch, and for me anyways. But one of the tips that we got here was do not rip packs, just buy singles. That's the best advice I was given, but I didn't follow. Now, I will tell you there's give and take there, because do what you enjoy. I enjoy buying packs. I'm a huge video game guy, and when I found out that Assassin's Creed had cards prior to me getting into Magic, I went out and I was like, well, let me buy 5 of them to open up, and I also bought some other ones and stuff, but I love the thrill of booster packs. And so although I like what this guy is saying, I do also think that I don't know what the hell I was looking for. If I went to go buy a single card right now, I don't know what I'm looking for, right? But through the course of buying packs, I found a legendary creature that I want to build a deck around because it was a big, beefy, powerful creature, right? So what is where do you fall on that scale? Buy packs, buy singles, do both.
I think
What's your opinion?
my opinion is if you're going for strategy and you're going to compete and you're trying to be competitive and you've already got, your legs underneath you, buy singles. Like, what you're trying to build. Go get that thing as opposed to buying, $20, $30 of packs hoping you get that card you're looking for. Just go buy the card you're looking for. And how you want to structure your deck. Yeah, singles all day is the way to go. If you don't know what the heck you're doing, or you don't know what style you want to play yet, or what competitive angle you want to try to attack it from, you need options. And buying packs gives you options. It's fun to open them. You can trade the cards you don't need or want for the cards you do want. That's another component of it. If you get packs, as I'm sure you do, you have a surplus of cards you don't plan on playing with, don't plan on using. They're not useless. You can resell on TCG. You can trade with other players at their game shop for cards you do need that they don't need because they don't play your style. I think there's just so much more fun and value personally to getting and buying packs. That's coming from somebody who's dropping $400+ on the Spider-Man packs. But that's Hasbro's mission, and they're succeeding with flying colors at getting us to do that. But it's still fun. It fulfills me. It's a game I love playing, and I'm going to use the cards I buy to either play or trade for ones I'll use. So it makes sense for me to buy packs if you're just getting started. But if you want to compete and that's your goal and you have a strategy outlined, buy singles. Buy the parts you need for the card. Don't go buying a bunch of extra pieces you don't even need.
Well, and to that point, I think when you have that excess of cards, the friend of mine that's walking me through playing, she had talked about her first experience, which you can hear about on, one of the documentary series, which would be like 2 or 3 episodes prior. The whole like
Mhm.
recording in advance is confusing on the timeline, but whenever just go back and watch it, it'll be the third
Yeah.
episode. She talks about her journey into Magic, and she got into it because a friend of hers had an excess number of cards and just said, "Here, see what you
Mhm.
want, dig through it, and if there's anything expensive in there, you can pay me for it. But if not, just build your deck." And
Yeah.
what I want to eventually be able to do is I would love to be able to as I go through this process, be able to either build my own commander decks or some of the precons that I've bought and that I'm not going to use to be able to give those
Mhm.
away because it is an expensive hobby. Like it really
Yeah.
is. And buying singles can be cheaper than buying a whole bunch of booster packs or whatever. But at the end of the day, like I want to be able to, because what I loved about today taking my son to local game store was just that
Mhm.
I got to I'm very I guess I guess what's the word I'm looking for, honored, or I feel blessed to be able to afford to be able to go do those
Yeah.
things. And I know that there's people out there who saw the Final Fantasy collab was like, I would love to do that, and couldn't afford to be able to, maybe they just bought a booster pack because that's what they could afford. So at the end of the
Yeah.
day, like the point about community is to be there for one another, help each other.
Yes.
The high tide raises all ships. So be there, help each other out, and if you have those excess cards and you're only going to get pennies on the dollar at your local game store, don't be afraid to donate them and give them to people who are wanting to play, or maybe you're wanting to get them into play. And so that's just kind of my thought there. But singles, I get it. I probably will buy a lot of singles once I start doing it competitively.
Yeah.
But right now,
Yeah.
I want to open a booster pack and see what I have in it and go from there. So
And
um,
even after you get competitive, I think you're still going to want to come back to the booster pack and the thrill that
yeah,
you get from cracking packs, man. It's its own separate segment of this whole game that we love. Is just cracking packs is a fun part of it. So even after you're competitive and you're dialed in, I still think you're going to love taking your kid to get some packs and cracking and see what y'all
I
get.
I think you're right. And now at this point of my Magic journey, it's a lot more fun to buy booster packs because I know what I'm looking at.
Mhm.
When Final Fantasy dropped, I bought, oh my gosh, like I would say at least 60 or 70 booster
Mhm.
packs like throughout like the first like month that it dropped. Um,
Yeah.
but I didn't know what I was looking at. I didn't know what any of it meant. And so now at least I know. I'm like, oh hey, I really like this card. So all right, so here's another tip when it
Mhm.
comes to talking about like the color deck. So we have here. I'm going to tell you from the start. Play a monocolor deck first. Play what makes you feel comfortable and what fits you. As you progress as a player, you will find what works for you. I've been playing for years and still prefer a murderer deck, mono black. I'm gonna leave it to you to tell me what that is. Heavy and destroy target character. I also play decks that sacrifice heavy that allow me to reduce costs for heavy hitters. So, I my limited knowledge, I kind of understand what he's saying, but is he talking about like with the
Yeah.
mono black, like just like killing
All
off
black
characters and
cards.
bringing them back?
Yeah, all black characters. He wants cards that'll reduce the mana required to play the big powerful ones, because there's cards that will let the characters, the smaller characters, also double as land. There's characters that'll reduce the cost that you could just sacrifice, and that'll allow you to reduce the cost of playing your big strong cards. It sounds like he's really looking at the beefing up of his strategy, and he's comfortable with that color scheme, and that's what he likes to stay in. And that's not a bad strategy. I think if you know the color through and through and you can do some damage with it. I hate black, so I'm not going to say it's a good strategy because I hate black, but yeah,
Did
it's effective. I'll say it's effective.
did they had a Walking Dead collab, right?
Mhm. I
Did
believe so.
do you know if Negan was the representative for the black color palette? Because that just seems very like Negan based. Like let's just sacrifice everybody for
Yeah,
the greater good. So I don't know. That's that I get the
we need
strategy.
to look into that.
Yeah, I get the strategy. But I do think his point though about starting and playing with what you're comfortable with and what fits you at first.
Yeah.
I think that this goes back to several of the points that we already talked about previous. Like I don't think I would care for playing with the black color scheme, so I would probably
Same.
just stay away from it. And would I like to learn? Sure. And if you're really trying to be someone who does it competitively, learning how other people's cards work is obviously going to
Yes.
benefit you. But for right now, I'm with you. Like we're tossing. Nerdy Squirrel 010 is one of my best followers. I appreciate all the likes. I'm throwing your tip out just because you play with
Heck yeah.
the mono black color.
It's a great tip, Nerdy Squirrel. Just you're the bane of my existence. Black
That's fair.
players, they beat me all the time. That's
That's
why.
fair.
I'm just salty. I'm just
That's
salty. You're
fair.
probably amazing.
All right, so we're coming down to our last couple here. I think this one is super important. And I will add in addition what I do to this. So we have here, learn your turn phases. Learn untap, upkeep, then draw. Learn what the stack is and how to maximize it. And most importantly, learn what decks you have fun with, and of course, try as many archetypes as you can early. So we had already talked about that, but learning
Yes.
your turn phases, like what I do is in every commander deck that I have, like in every set that you buy, comes that cheat sheet that tells you what your phases are. I
Yeah.
sleeve that and I put it at the bottom of my pile. So when I go to play, I just take it out. I set it right next to my graveyard, just so that I can continue to see and remind myself. Okay, hey, don't forget you have two main phases. This is
Yep.
when you would use, when you would go into combat. This is what you need to do. Just to kind of remind myself. But I will go one last step further. There is a playmat that I want to buy on Amazon
Mhm.
that has like spots dedicated to where you're supposed to put your cards, because that was another question I had when
Yes.
I first started, was like, where do things go?
Where's my
Um,
graveyard? I
and
don't
and
know where
it's,
my graveyard is.
and instead of, because it has like graveyard, instead of saying graveyard, it just says dead stuff. And then it has a spot for exile that just says really dead stuff. And I was like,
Yeah.
that's pretty funny. But yeah, like, what about the turn phases? Like, when it comes to that tip, I think that that's super
Mhm.
important, because you could really slow down a game if you don't know your turn phases. Did you,
Mhm.
when you first started, was did you have any complexity there trying to figure out how to go? And like, what would you say to a newbie starting out when it comes to turn phases?
Practice on arena would be the best thing I say, so that you learn the turn phases, because they have tutorials like you went through. So I would learn the turn phases like that, but in company with that, I would also learn which, like, things like scry. What the hell does that even mean? Well, that there are things like that in the game that allow you to search through your deck, like look at the top card, and you can either throw it underneath or bring it into your deck. Like, learn also the mechanics and when to use them. There are some moves that you can only use when you're it's not your turn, or when you're in attack mode. So along with learning the phases, while you're building your deck, pay attention to any cards that are phase specific, that can only be used in certain phases, because you think you're going to counter when your counter doesn't work when
Yeah.
it's not your turn. Like, so I would play arena to learn the phases, do the tutorials, and then once you get comfortable, go to a shop, try playing in real time with a person, and they'll tell you real quick, you can't do that, that's not in your face. You will get educated through play, A, because they don't want to lose if you're doing it the wrong way, and B, because they are genuinely trying to help more people become educated in the game, so that they have more people to play with. But I
Yeah.
would start with arena to learn the phases, and then learn the phase specific limitations of your cards.
Yeah, 100%. Because you got to understand that when you buy a deck, right, you're buying either a
Mhm.
starter kit deck for standard, or you're buying a commander deck, that a precon that's specifically designed to play commander with. Not that you can't deconstruct it, but
Yeah.
it's designed to have symmetry and to play, for that deck you bought. And one of the things I learned early on when it came to the phases was, to your point of like knowing when a trigger happens on a certain phase,
Mhm.
really paying attention to the verbiage of the card, because it could, the trigger could happen on someone's upkeep, or on your
Yep.
upkeep, but it could happen on every single person's upkeep, right? Like the wording of the card matters, and if it talks
Very
about
much so.
every player, those are triggers that you're leaving on the table that could earn you mana or could earn you life points or things like that. So really paying attention to the verbiage of your card, and then to your point in relation to where you that trigger works on your on your
Play phase.
play phase, like that's super important. And that goes back to some of the things we talked about earlier, like when you start playing, um don't just do like I did and buy a whole bunch of commander decks, and like you want to learn how you play, but you need to know what your deck does and what
Mhm.
it's designed to do. And so I would add on to that, take time to go through and read through your cards, like every single card, because there's 100 there.
Yeah,
And you're probably not going to get through all of them the first few times you play. So just take time to go through and read them, and
Mhm.
make sure you know exactly what your cards do and in relation to the game. So I think that's a very important step if you're going to play with other people. So,
Definitely
and
agree.
and if you're at the table with a newbie, like don't be an asshole. Like if they're learning,
No, it
don't do
totally
that.
wipes your board, man. Trust me. That's what that means.
Exactly. The first time I learned about board wipes, I was so mad.
Oh,
I didn't even know that was a thing. And again, I had this green deck. I was building all these amazing
yeah.
creatures, and then they're all gone.
What do you
See
mean
you
they're
later.
gone? Wait, 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 wait,
Yeah.
wait. No, but I just spent like all my turns building that. What do you mean they're gone? No, they're gone, dude.
Exactly. Yeah, and just had to start from scratch, and I was like,
Yep.
this sucks. I hate Magic. But then I kept playing. So,
That is, yeah, that's the right reaction.
but all right. So we got a couple left here. So this
Mhm.
one I really like. Life is a resource. The only point that matters is your last one. Don't be afraid to take damage to preserve things like creatures and the removal of things that will help your opponent run away with the game. So yeah, 100%. Like when things started kind of turning for me learning the game was when I was like, okay, I got 40 points to spare.
I'll
Let me
take
go
that
ahead.
hit.
Yeah, let me take that hit, right? And so whether you're wanting to play competitive or you're just wanting to play casual, the strategy of the game matters. So walk me through, for you as an experienced player here, what are some of the things that you strategize in relation to sacrificing your life points? Like are you the kind of person that's like, no, I need to block right away? Do you sacrifice some points to gain some advantages later? What do you think of this tip?
It's it's game dependent. Like if I know I have something good in my hand and I just need one or two cards out of the deck that I know are soon to come, then I'll take the hit because I'm building something bigger that's going to counter and undo any of the damage, or maybe give me the life back. Because I play white a lot, I have cards that if I get hit for 5, well, this card gives me back 6 or 7, so it's going to undo that damage anyway. So take the hit, take the block, allow me to power up a little more and do my thing and get my life back and
Yeah.
put me in a better position to attack. If you don't know your card style and what they do, though, yeah, getting hit is very scary when you first start playing. You're like, no, I'm losing. It's all going downhill. But Magic is cool in that it lets you get life back, or if you have a different play style, it lets you do large amounts of damage. So yeah, you could be 20 down, but you've spent your time building your character properly, that now every time you hit, you're able to just smash through their defenses. Or you have a combination of cards that allow you to attack quickly and back to back. Man, you're going to quickly make up that deficit if you build your deck right, but that comes with knowledge and experience. So I try to build mine to where like I said, I gain a lot of life back because I do get hit a lot and I'm comfortable losing cards. I start small generally. I'll throw out 3s and 2s for the purpose of blocking so that I have people out there and so that I can try to preserve my life. But once my big cards start coming out, I have no problems taking hits if I'm building something, or maybe even sacrificing the small ones if I don't want to get hit at all. But
Yeah,
and I
I
like flying cards. I love flying because they're a pain in the ass
I
for
do
people to
too.
play against.
Yeah, 100%. I like you can't block it, like and
Mm-mm.
so unless if it's another flying creature, and if you don't have any, like that's your problem. So I
Yeah.
agree with you. Flying cards are some of my favorite. I hate cards with death touch. I think those.
Oh, with a passion.
Yeah. So
Make no sense.
but I do. I like that tip, like, because it's Magic the Gathering is typically it's a marathon, not a race.
Mm-hmm.
So give it some
Yes.
time.
Especially
And
Commander.
Yeah. And if you end up losing, like, hey, so be it. You'll learn things to be able to strategize next time you play, or you'll think back and be like, oh, I should have played this card. I shouldn't have waited, whatever it may be. But
I
I
use losses. If I know I'm going to lose, I test Hail Mary strategies. That's a
yeah,
perfect time to like test new techniques, new attacks, new stacks. Like if you're going down, go down swinging and try some new stuff that you might be able to use next time.
yeah, I 100% agree. All right, so I have this last tip for us, and then we'll kind of close it
Mhm.
out. So,
Yeah.
I just learned about this website the other day, and I think I haven't done it yet, but I think I've had some people invite me to be able to play with them on this website. So, it's a website called Spell Table. So, Spell Table website would be a good place to be able to start to make a game, saying that you're brand new and that you need some help. So, what it is, I don't know if you're familiar with it, but it's basically a website where you can have an overhead camera to point down at your cards, and the website has a software recognition that will recognize your card and will make sure that players that you're playing with know exactly what cards you have and what you're playing. And more
That's
importantly,
cool.
for me as a newbie, I can go and I can, like, if I'm playing with you, I can go click on the card you have on the table and it'll pop up what that card does, so I can read the card without having to be like, hey, what does that say? What does that do?
Yeah.
But you can get together and you can play Commander online with people. The only thing you need to have is you need to obviously be able to have a computer or a laptop, and you need to be able to have some form of camera that can hang overhead to see your cards. But I
Mhm.
think that's a great tip, because some people don't go to the local game store because of um, maybe they're introverted, or they're nervous about it, but some
Yeah.
people just have mobility issues, or they have, travel issues or things like that, or
Mhm.
scheduling issues. Like maybe the local game store isn't open when they're available to go play. So I think that's a
Yes.
great resource and great platform. So what do you think about that? What do you think about like online play or stuff like that, away from arena, but a little bit more community driven? What are your thoughts?
I'm all for it. Anytime you can get a grassroots movement in the gaming space, it's always a plus because players are building it player focused. Like they're building it to solve problems that are built into the game. They're finding solutions together. They're building a stronger community. So I've never heard of this site, but it sounds like an awesome opportunity for people who want to play Commander and want to get to actually know the people and converse and get to know their cards of their opponents. Even if you do see them face to face at times, people have schedules, people have work, people, they're not always off on time. But if y'all can get together and your club group can play online, or if you never go to the place, you can play online, I think it's a great opportunity to just further suck you into the game. Hasbro agrees, I'm sure. I know they want you to be on Arena, but if playing in the other website gets you to buy more cards, the mission's accomplished either way. It's a brilliant strategy that they deploy, but I love things that are player built and very focused on player experience. So I think using those sites is a great way to just get to know the game better and get to know people better.
It's the power of social media, right?
Yeah.
Like, whether you're talking about Instagram, TikTok, those kind of apps, or you're talking about a website that allows you to be able to be community driven and play with other Magic
Mhm.
players, or if you're a gamer and you want to use Twitch to be able to play and stuff like that, like, social media and the internet has just
Mhm.
revolutionized the way that things are being played and done. And I think that the timing of like the Final Fantasy collab, it's a perfect, whirlwind of everything, right? It's
Yeah.
the love of Final Fantasy, it's the love of Magic, it's community, it's people playing together, but it's that online presence, right? That really has driven it. So I think
Yeah.
anything you can do to play is a good thing, right? And
It-
so I think that's a great resource. It'll be a future episode coming up in the documentary series, so you'll be able to see kind of my first experience with that. And I'm telling you now, I think it's great. I might hate it whenever I do it. I'll make sure to let you know, but I think that that's a great place to start. So I want to end by this. I want to end with two things. One, I'm going to share a tip with you that I think is great. I'd like for you to share one with our audience of your own tip that you think is great, and then just kind of your lasting words or your closing words to a newbie
Mhm.
like me. Like, what how would you encourage them? So my tip for the audience that's watching right now is it's a pack called Foundation. It's a Magic Foundation. It's like a box set that comes with a couple of play mats with it. several like welcome decks of cards, and it walks you through. And this thing is amazing because it walks you through literally like the game and how to play it step by step. And the cards are already in the order you need it to walk through and play the game. So when you're playing against someone,
Nice.
the initial playthrough is just a half game. It's a half game of standard.
Mhm.
It's only to 10 points, and you just follow the guide, and it walks you through. And it's like, hey, this is a land. This is what a land does. You play it here. The next card, because you played that land, now you want to go ahead and play this creature. But that creature has summoning sickness, so it can't do anything yet. Now that it's your opponent's turn, and the opponent has their booklet that walks them through these steps. And at first, when I first opened it, because I'm a dummy, I didn't read anything. I didn't read the instructions. I was just kind of looking at it.
Shuffle this deck real
What
quick.
I did, I shuffled them all, and then I had to go through and watch a YouTube video of someone unboxing it to be like, okay, these are the cards that go with this. And
That's
so,
funny.
but what I actually plan on doing, so I've played several hands of Commander already. I kind of understand the game, Magic Arena. What I want to do, because I think this is a great resource and a great tip, but I want to take two people who have never played Magic before in their life, doesn't have any interest in it at all, and they're going to walk through this in a future episode of this documentary series. They're going to actually play and walk through this game together. And at the end of it, I want to know a couple things. One, was it as confusing as you thought Magic was going to be? Did the game help you understand it and walk you through it? But for something like that to be beneficial, did it get you interested in playing more Magic? Right? Because
Yep.
you know, like that's the whole point. Like they want to make money, they got to get people to want to play more. So, but I do think that that's a great resource to be able to start with. So if you're new and you have someone who you can play with, like for me, my wife had no interest. I'm gonna make her do it. And so I kid. I don't make her do anything. She's going to willingly do this, but I'm gonna have her to be a part of it. So if you have someone that you can walk through and you can play with, I do think it's a great resource to learn how to play the basic standards of the game. Where again, Arena, my problem with Arena was like boom, 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 everything happens so fast. Here you can take as much time as you need. So that's kind of my tip to people who are new to it. What do you have for a new player? What would you say?
My tip is immediately after taking your tip, never buy another pre-built pack ever again. Don't buy a commander deck. Don't buy any of those. Only buy, and it's the strategy I've lived by, only buy booster packs. A, they're more fun. B, they're harder to put commander decks together with a scattered amount of booster cards. But you get a greater understanding of the structure of your deck. You're building it literally brick by brick, card by card. So I think it gives you a better understanding of the game. You can construct your strategy from the ground up, and you learn just a lot quicker because you have to assemble everything. It's a lot like Legos. Once you put your Legos together, you kind of got the idea of how to rebuild it in case it falls, and boom, 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 you could get there quicker than you did the first time. So after you go through his foundations and learn to play the basics, never buy a pre-built deck again. Only go boosters. Are a lot more fun. You have to learn a lot more to put your deck together, and the little bit of difficulty, especially if you're like ADHD and you get hyper fixated with things that are complicated, it'll get you all the way in, and you'll have a lot more fun that way. So that's my tip, is once you know the basics, never buy a pre-built again. Just go boosters and love it.
I love that. I wish you would have told me that 11 commander decks ago. However, actually, it's actually 12. I have one more here. But this one, okay. So this one, in fairness, I'm a Final Fantasy fan, so I bought all 4 of the commander decks because like I had to have all 4, right? Even though this is from Final Fantasy 14 and I'd never played the game, I still had to have them. So I do. I love it. Well, listen. I want to give you one last chance. Some words of encouragement, because your channel is all about positivity. It's all about inclusion. If you haven't checked out the Con Culture podcast, like I don't know what you're doing with your life. Go check them out on all platforms, all social media, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, all of it. Give some words of encouragement to someone out there who's watching this video and getting into Magic.
Yeah, if you're getting into Magic, it's a magical world, to be cliche. It's a lot of fun. A lot of fun awaits you. A lot of new friends you don't know yet await you. And it's a fun adventure that never stops being fun. a lot of games you play don't have a replayability to it. Magic is an ever evolving game. The collabs every year are so much fun to be a part of. You're in for a whirlwind that continues to evolve and continues to get better and continues to get more fun to play as you play it. So the more cards you collect, you'd figure you get to a point where it's like, all right, I've collected all the cards I need. I've played a lot. No, they'll
Yeah.
release new ones. They'll undo stuff that you used to love to do. Strategies will shift. Things, cards will get banned even. It's a fun ride. Strap in for it. Find a group of people that you love playing with, and that'll make it all worth it.
I love it. Well, thank you again for being a part of this. As we continue our journey, I hope that we can collaborate again on some future episodes. But for right now,
Definitely.
if you're a fan, take this info. I hope it helps. I hope it really, contributes to your fandom and how you play Magic the Gathering. And honestly, like the most important part about what I'm trying to do here requires you to comment. Comment below. Let us know in the comments, was this helpful? What are some
Mhm.
advice that you have for other players, things like that? Um, because I want to contribute to the larger community. I want everyone to feel included. I want everyone to be a part of this. And yeah, just again, thank you for being a part of my journey.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me. I hope we helped you guys.